Hi, welcome to Think Human. I'm Chris, and in this video I want to talk about free will and quantum physics, quantum mechanics. So the idea of free will, by definition, really, we cannot have free will. The definition of free will is an agent's ability to make choices free of any constraints. And already we see that we cannot have free will because we are agents that are not free from constraints. We have many constraints set upon us by either evolution, natural selection, our genetics, our environment growing up, how our mom and dad was, what happened when we were 10 years old walking in the street or listening to some lecture in school. We do not control any of that. So most of what we are the result of our past history and our genetics. We cannot take full responsibility of where we are right now in any true meaningful way. So a simple thought experiment to illustrate how we do not have free will in a way that we might think we do or want to think we do is a simple thought experiment. So think of a movie. Think of any movie in the world. Just have some kind of movie in your head. Okay, so now when you have some movie, forget about that movie totally. And think of a new movie. You can pause the video if you want. Think of a new movie, any movie at all. And this is important. This is the freest choice that you will ever have. If there ever is a free choice, then this is it right now. Choose any movie in the world. Okay, so if you have some movie, what was the movie? I thought of Lord of the Rings because that was my example last time I recorded this video. So why didn't you think of Lord of the Rings? You had your own movie in your head. Can you explain why you thought of this movie? Maybe your explanation is, oh, I saw this movie last week and it just popped into my head. Okay, fine, but why didn't you think I just saw it last week? Maybe I'll talk of some movie that I saw years ago. You can't explain the process that brought about you coming out with this movie. You can't explain why in your head you didn't get a selection of every movie you have ever seen. You only get a few pop into your head. If you truly had free will and free choice, all the movies you have ever seen would pop into your head and you would have a truly free selection of all of it. But that does not happen. Something just happens unconsciously. You hear the word movie, something starts bubbling to the surface, and then you get something. But you have no idea and no explanation how that happened. That process. So it's definitely under the hood, and by this definition I think it illustrates that we don't have free will in the way that we think we do. Now, practically in everyday life, of course, it doesn't really change anything. It's not like we can sit on the couch because, we don't have free will. It doesn't matter what I do. Choices still do matter, and choices are important. It's just that we are not ultimately responsible for how we grew up, what genetics we have, what country we were born for. It's nothing to do with us in that way. And then about quantum physics is the interesting idea. People think that maybe there's some quantum mechanical systems in our head, and that gives us the ability to have free will, actual free choice. But the best that quantum mechanics can do for you is, instead of your brain being determinism really quickly is the idea that if we know exactly how your brain is right now, then we can just simulate the clock into the future and we know exactly what will happen in the future. In quantum physics, the best you can get is that this outcome will be random. So instead of your actions being determined, your actions are now random. I don't think that's any way better. So quantum physics does not give you any more free will. It just gives you randomness. But I think on an everyday sort of philosophical and daily life psychological sense, it really doesn't make a difference, because the experience of life is still the same. It's not useful to think of everything being determined. It is useful for us to live our lives and to think as if we have free will, because choices still matter. If you go on a diet, that still makes a difference. If you want to get up out of bed earlier and do something, then that makes a difference. All these choices still have a meaningful impact, and they do matter. And I would argue, for me, an important point: if we do not have free will, then the thing that will never be taken away from us except by death is our own conscious experience. This feeling that we inhabit this body, we're in this space, we are self-aware, we know that we're functioning here. This feeling that we have, this is something that we always have, and to me it doesn't matter if we have free will or not. I am the observer that looks at everything happening, and that is what we have, and that is what is valuable, because everything is experienced in here, in this head. and all the feelings and everything meaningful and worthwhile in life is experienced in here. So to me it really doesn't matter if we have free will. I think it might be partly an ego thing, that people want to be, yes, I make all the choices, I did this, my own work, whatever, to get to this point in life, when actually they had lucky childhood and series of events that happened that led them to be successful in whatever way, and they want to be proud for that. And that's fine to be proud in some way, because they had to suffer through some things to get where they are now, but ultimately we are not responsible for where we are. So that is the short kind of video about free will and quantum physics. It doesn't give us free will, it just gives us randomness. It's quite easy to understand that if you know anything about quantum physics. So these are just some few thoughts about this. I hope you got some interesting ideas. If you have any thoughts, please leave them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching again. Take care.